What you have in front of you is a formative from yesterday. It's on all the notes that you took from yesterday. Well, you want to go ahead and put your keys on your desk. We're going to talk about this every day. There you go. All right? Your targets for today, go ahead and hit it, Mr. Thompson.
Here you go. Bam.
Targets for today. All right, this first part, this is your formative. Students will review the causes of the Civil War discussed yesterday. If you can't remember one thing that you wrote down from your notes yesterday, that should signal to you that you should probably review your notes or pay attention more when you're writing. All right, this is based off what you took from yesterday. So you can start on that formative when we're done. Then students will understand the mindset of America leading up to the Civil War. We're going to continue writing our notes that we took yesterday. And then our third target, James. Hold on. Our third target will be that students can demonstrate map and timeline analysis. We're going to give you some maps and some things that show what did America look like, compromise of 1850, what it looked like in the Missouri Compromise, Nebraska and Kansas, which is what you learned about today. All right, we want to see some of those skills. So take 2 minutes, get after this formative, and then you're going to grade yourself after you're done. So let's go ahead and let's start. Missouri Compromise, what letter?
C.
C. In 1820, Missouri would be admitted as a slave state as long as Maine would be admitted as a free state. Keep that balance.
Yep.
Delicate balance of states. A. Yes. In 1818, 10 free states, 10 slave states. As new states came into Congress wrestled with keeping this balance so there wouldn't be more than the next. All right. Latitude 3630 north. D. Yeah, the line dividing north and south. Free and slave west of the Mississippi.
Yeah.
In the north it was legal for slavery, in the south it was not.
Okay, let us go ahead and talk a little bit about what we looked at yesterday. And I want to kind of fill in the pieces to the puzzle because some of the things, for example, in 1819 we talked about the Missouri Compromise. We looked at the Trail of Tears, which took place in the 1830s. I want to share with you some information that you may see again on an end-of-course test. Whereas everybody in this class knows what the Trail of Tears was, right? Yeah. Brandon, where did folks leave during the Trail of Tears? What places? What states?
Alabama,
Mississippi, and Georgia. Fantastic. And they're forced to move west as a result of this. Now, we know that. Now, some of the things that you want to be familiar with and make connections is the Indian Removal Act. That's when Congress said, folks got to do what? Move. Worcester versus Georgia, the Supreme Court said, no, they have a right, the Indians have a right to stay here. But what does Andrew Jackson say? He says, forget that. You've got to go. And that results in this Trail of Tears. This actually sided with the Indians and said they're an independent nation. However, it said we have a right to leave. Now, we've seen this elsewhere in history. The Anti-Federalists, the Kentucky and Virginia Resolution. We just talked about this. The Civil War, what are states actually going to do? Half of them are going to leave, but they're going to be allowed to come back. It's like, once again, a little kid. Lincoln says they may run away, but we're going to allow them to come back. And we see with the civil rights movement, and then recently, what was the decision in Georgia about water rights? Who has control of Lake Lanier and all that water? Who did they say had rights? Georgia, but who decided that? The federal government. Fantastic. So those are things that even today we see this idea of states' rights. We'll see it with the civil rights movement and beyond. Now, another part that's going to be in between that Missouri Compromise and what we look at today is going to be something that took place that gets us all of this land.
How many of you guys knew that we had a war with Mexico in the 1800s? Some of you guys knew that? Did you realize that the result of that war was the entire Southwest? The entire Southwest was, let's say, bought.
Well,
not really though, in this war. So that entire part of the country is a result of this war.
okay, can I show them the
The
academy?
question was, Mr. Summer,
Yes.
was that Mexico's property?
It was. And believe it or not, so was Texas. And an interesting story about Texas is the reason why people went to Texas is because they wanted land, and they said that slavery was legal in Texas. But Mexico, when they take over from Spain, they changed the law and say slavery is forbidden, and you couldn't have slavery in Texas. So what does Texas do? They left
They went and got a drink of water, right?
and became, they got a drink of water, and they became an independent republic. And so as a result of that, that was the Republic of Texas. In 1845, the United States just does what to Texas? Take it over. They annexed it. But here is the Academy Award-winning film, short film,
Yes.
on the Mexican War.
Did you make it?
I produced it, I also directed it, and any still photos that are pictures, I actually drew them.
And then if you're struggling with your REM, what's
Yes.
REM, Mr. Summer?
Rapid eye movement, that's right before you're about to go to sleep.
So if you're struggling with that, this will probably help you out.
I'm a pro-slavery person, I'm doing what?
Leaving.
Nope, I'm
No,
coming in. Anti-slavery people did what?
No.
Came in. And what did they start to do in Kansas?
If you're in the same room with people that you hate,
Fight. Because if I make you leave and we have a vote based on this act, the more people we have standing, those are the people who are going to do what? They'll leave, and then when we vote, we're going to do what with the election? We're going to win. Exactly. You're going to kick those people out. They're going to be scared, and when it's time to come for a vote, we'll have more votes than they do. And it became a point, like you're saying, you got people moving in and invading the territory. People are dying. So that's when we talk about bleeding Kansas and John Brown, and that very important. This is an African-American gentleman who is also willing to fight for the cause. And you see this flag. What flag is that? Confederate. Which one is this? The Union. So you start to see a foreshadowing of what is to come. And this guy is the leader of that.
Alright, so if you guys are finishing up that part, why did the passage of the Kansas-Nebraska Act lead to what historians call bleeding Kansas? We're talking about major conflicts between pro-slavery and anti-slavery people. Major conflicts between those two, because if they have the opportunity to vote, and it's not necessarily a slave or a free state, both kind of people are going to come. When you get both kind of people in a room, what's going to happen? There's going to be conflict. So that's how, and what led to bleeding Kansas.
And Coach, we want to do Dred Scott at the last one
Dred
before
Scott
we
will be
go.
our last one, and then we'll move into our Atlas activity.
Okay, Dred Scott is a guy who could neither read or write. But there's a group of people who are against slavery. What have we called people in this class who are against slavery?
Abolitionists.
Abolitionists. Those folks good who are anti-slavery also